and changing. That's that intelligence energy. And this is the energy. All these life events, that's the energy. But you're also, not that there's two things going on, but you're the awareness of it too. So from that standpoint, you remain unaffected despite what's playing out. So if you can even just see that for a second, that you're that unchanging awareness for the changeful to happen, no matter what's showing up on your screen, no matter what dance is being danced on the stage, you're not affected by it truly. So hopefully that'll just give you some kind of sense of not, I'm not thinking of it as hope, but just a relaxation, which would be similar to a surrender to what is. And that's where your real peace is going to come from. You're not going to change the event.
Learned, and the pattern has been the same pattern. And after all this happened, it's just like looking at it and it's just sort of saying, why do you get caught in those patterns? You can see it coming, and then you insist on staying on it, and you can't blame anybody else but yourself. So
and you can't even blame yourself. You can't blame yourself because you're not doing it. I mean, if you had a choice on the kind of life you were going to live, is this the kind of life you would choose?
Absolutely not.
I know I would, and my kids would never be sick. I would never be sick. I would have the perfect job, or no job that would even be better. I would be unemployed and filthy rich, never get sick. Everybody would love me. I'd have a beautiful home on the beach, and if I was in charge, then my life would be very different.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying is that, I needed this rude awakening to see the patterns and stuff. And, it's just kind of like slowly, it's just like everything that was kind of stable in my mind, it was like a stability is rock and rolling now. And it's kind of becoming aware of the rock and rolling.
There's two birds sitting in a tree, and the one on the lower branch represents the phenomenal or manifest world, that where we're doing, and we have our problems, and we have our good days and our bad days, and we're eating and hanging out with our friends, and just day-to-day living. And we can be absorbed and consumed by it too. And there's another bird that is identical to the bird on the lower branches that's sitting higher, watching, silently watching all this, and that is the I am. That is the I exist, without any labels, without any history, without, I am Donna and I am a girl, and none of that. It's just pure awareness or witnessing. And actually, it's more of a witnessing. But it's the I am, it's awareness expressed as the I am. So that is when awareness appears as a body-mind in this manifest world, it is the I am. That's the first thing, is that I exist. And everything's built on top of that. The birds, friends, family, the berries, the branches, the nest, and I'm a blackbird and my name's Harry, But this is the pure I am. This is the first expression of awareness, is the I am. And that I am is the doorway between the infinite and the finite. Kind of swings both ways. So it could be the I am, a person experiencing a world, or you're the I am, which is infinite awareness, like the sky. And anything and everything can and does appear in that empty space of awareness. So the door can swing both ways, but the beauty of it is it's none of it's separate. There's only that awareness energy expressing as the I am, as the manifest world. So it's even if the manifest world were to disappear, the I am energy would still be there. So they're just, the main thing was is it's not separate. It's just the awareness energy expressing as the I am in the manifest world. It's a nice little story.
But what I was going to ask you was that because of this analyzing mind, it just, you know, it's so hard to picture that in reality, in this apparent phenomenal world, because everybody can say I am. There isn't
Mm-hmm.
anybody or anything, the dog, the cat, the insects, the tree, or whatever. Everything can say I exist. But then there is awareness that you say is the phenomenal appearance as well, and the I am is just a swing door. And what you're saying is, it's the, it's like from being to non-being, being to non-being. It's just like that. But again, you know, Bob
But
talks
it's
about,
all being. It's all being expressing exist. And you know, a cat and a dog don't say I am. They just are. They don't question it. They're pure existence. It's the humans that question it. And you weren't questioning it before you were 2 years old. You were just pure beingness. And then you were taught to think and forced to think. Think, you know, you're this and that. And I told you, and labeling, and they're demanding that you think. How do you do, you know, they're encouraging us to think and reason and rationalize everything. And that's just such a small part of our existence, and we've taken it to be everything. So no, I don't think that the animals walk around saying, I exist. What if you're already life, you don't need to walk around saying, I'm life, I exist. You just are.
no, but what I'm saying is, yeah, but what I'm saying is that when you try, the mind tries to picture everybody as being that same awareness, and yet we perceive everybody as being different. The tree as being different, the earth or
Well,
the
yeah, that's
galaxy.
what you're supposed to do. That's what the phenomenal, that's what's happening, is awareness has taken on this identity as I am as a body mind. It's not a mistake. You're supposed to see duality, but the duality is an illusion. It's an appearance. But most people take this to be only real. This is the only thing. They don't, you know, and there's all this suffering because they're trying to find this eternal bliss and happiness and find purpose and meaning to this expression, but they're using their mind to do it. And they're chasing concepts and thoughts and things they were taught and things they believe. And it's just causing more suffering. Because, I mean, how long have you been trying to find it? And you haven't. So it's not here. It's not in the phenomenal world. But what can happen, though, is that the recognition comes that you are not just this body-mind. You're the energy expressing as a body-mind. Similarly, you know, like the sand on the beach. There's only sand. That's everything. And then the sand can take the form of bodies and castles and little dogs and children and universes. But it all goes back to the sand. It's all made of the sand. It's never not been the sand. So when this body-mind isn't existing anymore in this duality, where does it go? It didn't go anywhere. So nothing actually happened. It was just sand taking the form of a body-mind. But there really wasn't a separate person there with the story that I'm this and that. You're just a sand. And not that you're just, but you're that energy expressing as this. So what's happening right now is that awareness is expressing as a body-mind. And then the recognition may arise that it's the energy, you're actually that energy, that intelligence energy expressing as everything. You're not just the body-mind. And then when you look at the body-mind, you take a look at it. It, you know, comes and goes. You get, scientists have discovered, quantum physics. They go down to the tiniest little cell, and it boils down to this energy, and they can't say what it is. But, isn't it undeniable, though, that there's air, okay? There's air everywhere. There's oxygen. We're breathing it. And the air is moving the trees and the branches, and it's moving your hair, and you can feel it on your skin, and you can move things when you blow it, but you can't see it, right? But you know it's there. It's undeniably, it's there. So even though we can't see this awareness because it's qualityless, it's not a thing, but you can't deny that it's there. Something knows. There's a knowing here. There's life here. We don't know exactly what it is because it's not a thing, but you can't deny that it's expressing, that it's here and it's now. Expressing is this. You cannot deny that the wind. I guess the best way to say it is the wind's there by the expression of it blowing in the trees. You know it's there because the trees are moving. So we know that knowing, that intelligence energy is here because there's a knowing and there's this movement, there's this expression here called body mind. And that's the recognition that comes up, that you're not a body mind, you are energy expressing as a body mind. You think, I hear you saying that you want a lot of things to end, and it's not so much that things need to end. You just need to lose interest in a lot of things that you're putting your interest into. And it's not something you can make happen, but you can at least notice and try. And then sometimes the purpose of trying is to realize that you're not the one doing it. So if you get frustrated trying, it's a beautiful thing because you're going to realize that you can't make it happen. So trying isn't necessarily wrong either. It can be a great opportunity to see your powerlessness and everything, and that everything is arising spontaneously on its own.
And today at work, I was constantly, reminding myself, where is your attention going?
Mm-hmm.
Where is your attention going? And kind of slowing things down, and just kind of trying to get a hold on the attention's going to the thoughts. The attention is not staying on my being, the sense of presence.
But
And
notice that you're not able to control your attention.
no, I can't. I can't control my thoughts. I can't control the narration, and I can't control, the attention or anything. And that's where the frustration comes into the point
That's
of
where your suffering is. That's the suffering.
and acceptance of that even doesn't come because, I'm like, just accept it and just do, accept it. And then it's just like.
But then that's a good thing because notice that you're suffering, you're trying to control your life. That's not a bad thing either. These are good things to notice. How many times, in a sense, are you going to put your hands on the stove before that attention is going to stop eventually going there? And just notice that. The more, for me, that you notice it, that you're putting yourself in the position of awareness instead of the person. And that noticing, it doesn't have to be all day long and, oh my gosh, I have to notice every minute and every little thing. It's just glimpses. Even if you just take a few minutes at night and just take one or two situations and see how much control you actually had over that situation. What part in it did you actually control? And if you can't do that, then at least sit there with your body and just acknowledge the fact that you're not beating your heart and you're not breathing your lungs or growing your hair. They're happening on their own. And the suffering comes in when you think that you can change it or you want to change it and you can't. And even that's the awareness, even that's what's happening. So that's not wrong either. Nothing's right or wrong, but it's just a simple noticing how life is unfolding spontaneously on its own at all times. And that, to me, is what these pointings are about, is to get you to see that what happened to you with your car and what happened to you with your investments and physically, did you have any control over any of that?
No, I didn't. And there's an innate knowing of what you're saying. It's just like the understanding is there, and yet all this is spontaneously being bombarded all at the same time, or it feels like it, and it's just like, there's no ground to stand on. And as much as I say that, this is like a dream at night, in the dream at night, there's
Yeah.
one body mind sleeping, and there's thousands of bodies and earths and me flying to Mars or whatever is all being conjured up by this body mind. Is that one consciousness, creating all this, and you really feel like you're there, and this is the same, but it still doesn't give the peace in the sense of, as soon as this waking up happens in this phenomenal world, it's all taken personally. Like you said, as soon as you say my money or my house or my car or my this, you've
Mm-hmm.
already gone ahead and labeled it in the sense of,
Mm-hmm.
to create a person who has this, and therefore the suffering comes in. So a lot of the things you've said, they come into, like, instantly, I'm reminded of those things, I'm instantly reminded of what Bob says or Kat has said
Yeah.
and whatever it is.
Mm-hmm. And
But at
doesn't that
this,
bring you some peace? Doesn't that, just hearing this and talking like this and reminding you that you're the awareness, even if it's not a felt sense yet, just for me reading it, it just put a little break. It just gave me a little distance from that awareness fixating on the situations in my life. And that it
and
felt like
yeah.
it relaxed a little bit into the beingness instead of being, so intent on what's going on around me. Even, and those matter. Don't take that so lightly. Even if it's just fleeting for a moment, at least you noticed it. And if you
Yeah,
can, keep noticing it.
yeah, and I think just talking to you about it kind of creates the less weight on the shoulders. It's
Exactly.
like,
Exactly.
yeah, yeah, and I don't know what it is about letting the steam off or whatever it is, but it just
Yeah.
allows that weight to be just kind of, just in sharing, it's just like allows the weight, it's all phenomenal. It might, people might say it never happened and all of that, but at the same token, there's so much of it that you can't help taking it personally. So even just
Hmm.
talking to somebody about it, no matter
But see,
what.
that's the thing. You can't help take it personally because you're not. It's the awareness taking it personally and believing that it's a separate entity that's taking it personally. And it's awareness. It's not you. So don't, you can't even take credit for that.
Feels
You're
so
not
much
doing
like a,
anything.
but it feels so much like a me, I mean, that's just it.
Yeah.
Trying to because you can't see the awareness, you can't feel it, but it's just like what you had said at one meeting, that you can't have a foot here and a foot there both at the same time. You can only have a foot, you know when your awareness, this is not there anymore, you know
Mm-hmm.
and when you're this, you can't be in that full space of awareness. But once you get to the awareness, this one can be a puppet and do whatever it wants to do and go about and this and that and everything else, but it
It's not
doesn't
about
touch you.
getting to awareness, though. You don't get to awareness. You never left. That's the whole point. You are awareness expressing is this, is everything, good or bad. You are right in the middle of it, as close can be. It's there's nothing to get to. It's just the recognition. It's just removing or seeing through these false beliefs you have of what's happening right now. And this is awareness expressing as everything. And you never left. And there's nowhere to get to, and you didn't lose it. It's here right now, expressing as Kativa, talking to Donna about the things going on in Kativa's body, mind, life, phenomenal world. That's really what's happening. There's no separate Kativa doing anything. It's that energy expressing is everything. It's the energy expressing is Kativa. It's the energy being a computer. It's the energy speaking. It's that life force energy uh, having a expressing as a beautiful sky. It's the energy expressing as your cat and dog. There's nothing else going on, and it's not really something that you can achieve that understanding. What happens is that you stop believing that there's a Kativa doing it. That belief, just the interest in belief falls away. Nothing actually changes. Nothing actually happens because it's just a story, and is the story real? It's not. They're just words and ideas. They're not the real.
See, the
And
mind
so,
comes in. Yeah, the mind comes in and says, after all these years, you still can't get it, It's so simple, and it's just like, why can't you see through it, And it'll just kind of, it's just one more on top of everything
can
else,
you
And
see
it's
that
just,
that's just a story arising? That's just a story arising. Just out of thin air, the story is arising about why you can't see this. And your attention's on that. And just watch how it plays out. It's going to keep playing out like that until it doesn't. It's kind of like dancing with a gorilla. You're not done till the gorilla's done.
and daft that,
So,
if you understand this, why can't you just relax and go in? And that's when your words come into mind, It's not up to you. Can't make you, demands on the universe.
so why can't you relax, Kativa?
Because it's like, the attention keeps going to the thoughts. Attention keeps going back. It's just like,
And are you doing that?
no,
Or is
I'm
that
not
what's
doing
happening?
it. No, it's what's
Exactly.
happening,
That's exactly right. That's exactly
Uh,
right. And you're saying that you're not awake? That sounds pretty awake to me. It's not tricky. It's not a trick. This isn't some kind of, mystery. It's right in your face, and you just said it. It's that simple. You're not doing it. Period. It's no big explosion at the end. There's no big party or fireworks. It's simple and ordinary, right here, right now, expressing just as it is, and you just said it.
yeah, but it's just like,
Now listen to the doubts come. Remember, I told you. Now watch how that habit of the mind's going to just talk you right out of that. Say no, because you have these concepts that it's something else. Not you, but these concepts keep coming out. But then you're going to keep getting these glimpses that it's this, and you're not doing it. It's just arising. Everything's just expressing until it doesn't, and it'll express as something else. And that would include expressing as Kativa, and then one day it won't express as Kativa. But that's all that's happening. It's not a mystery. It's not difficult. You don't have to look for it because you are it. Your thoughts are it. Your body's it. What's happening right now is it. This is what's happening. This right here, right now. It's not somewhere else. It's right here. Everything that you say and do and think, everything that's happening right now is it. Nothing's excluded. Nothing's outside of it. This is it in all of its expressions and possibilities. And you can't escape from it because you are it. You're trying to find it and you are it. It's like the fish in water. You are that water. You're already it. You're in it. You're the water expressing as a fish. And you've never left. Nothing to find. But for some reason, the way that this awareness is playing out, it seems to like to forget itself and chase enlightenment. It's a really big story playing out right now in the human world. But we're not doing that either. And this world could be expressing in so many ways. But consciousness, like I feel, has a really good sense of humor because it likes to not be awake to itself because most of the planet isn't. And there's such a small population that really have an understanding that this is all energy expressing as this. So I think consciousness doesn't have a preference. It's not wanting it one way or another. In fact, if you were to look at the statistics, it looks like it's in favor of not knowing what it is and speaking and thinking it's separate. Because we're not in charge
Very
of
much
how this,
so.
we're not even in charge if this planet's going to implode or the humans are going to destroy it or we're going to become extinct. And, my personal opinion, I think we should be extinct. I think the human race should get off this planet because, what, the planet's going to be just fine without us. I mean, I think I mentioned this somewhere that I was watching a show that if you took all the insects off the planet, they all became extinct. The planet wouldn't survive more than 18 months, I think it was. But if you took all the humans off the planet and they were extinct, the planet would be fine. In fact, it would regenerate itself and it would balance itself out again because everything goes back to dust. So
Yeah, that
that just
doesn't
shows you our
surprise me.
value here. How important are we really? And how important is the human race? We put so much value and importance on being more
Well,
intelligent.
we've given ourselves the self-importance.
Oh yeah, but we didn't. Actually, it's awareness. It's playing out this way. And if something needs to be done and changes need to be made, maybe to turn the planet around, then consciousness will have to bring those thoughts and those actions to do that. And it will give those thoughts and actions to certain individual characters that are manifesting at certain times. That, Einstein used to say, hey, I didn't come up with the formulas I came up with. They just appeared in my head and I wrote them down. Have you ever done that where you're doing something and you're like, seriously, out of the blue, you're like, aha, oh my gosh, why didn't I think of that, 20 hours
Yeah,
ago?
yeah,
And it just
exactly.
pops into your head. And
Yeah,
life
it's
is
like looking, yeah,
spontaneously
and
popping up at every moment, there's energy, spontaneous thoughts, feelings, changes, actions, and we just take it upon ourselves to think that we're somehow orchestrating any of it. And I love this analogy about a warehouse, and there's this big panel, and in front of the panel is this big glass window, and you can see the whole factory from these windows, and you're behind the windows in front of this huge control panel with pedals and buttons and levers and tables and all kinds of things. And you're just pressing all these buttons and moving things around and just going crazy, watching everything move, and you're creating this and you're doing that. And you know what awakening is? If you were going to have an analogy to awakening, is that you realize that the panel was never plugged in. But wasn't it fun thinking that you were in charge?
when
Why
that
not?
pressing need is. But I just
Very
wanted
good.
to say, but thank you.
Sure.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.